Alright, people, let's get right to it. My name is John, and this is part 9 of my crazy life story. And so, last video, I mentioned that I didn't get my E2 visa, and right now I'm stuck in Czechia, and my life is basically torn uh, in between two countries, all right, United States and Czechia, Czech Republic, all right. So and I got nothing else to do than just talk to myself on this video, talk to this camera, to my iPhone. So basically, I'm just talking to myself and just recording my crazy story. And funny thing is, I'm not even uploading these videos because I don't even have an internet connection with enough data to be able to do so. So I'm just saving these videos for later. The only purpose these videos have is that I'm actually just practicing my speech and my pronunciation, which is degrading, and because I'm not speaking English on regular basis. My brain is switching back to Czech language, which is not good for me. So I need to be able to keep switching back and forth, just like what I used to. So basically, I'm trying to practice my speech, and at the same time, I'm just saying stuff about my life. All right. So I didn't get the visa, and the other day I applied for social security aid, like existential minimum, which is ridiculously low amount of money here in Czechia. It's 3,400 Czech crowns, which is about $160 a month for food. That's what they give you, and it's just ridiculously low. But I don't care. I don't really acknowledge. You know, I don't really realize the value of the money. Uh, you know, I was just forced, by all these circumstances to apply for that, and now I can't even leave this studio apartment because the inspector from the bureau, social security bureau, they're supposed to come over here and inspect the living conditions of me and my sister, and they are not gonna give you any specific day and time when they gonna come over. So basically, I just have to wait until they show up one day. It might be this week or next week, or I don't know. So they usually do it before 3 o'clock in the afternoon. So basically, I cannot leave this place every day on the weekday until like 3 p.m. So this is crazy fucking stuff, you know. And another thing I did, I actually put my resume together because so far I didn't put a resume together. So all these jobs that I was applying for, that I didn't provide my resume was probably one of the reasons I didn't get the job that I applied for. But the resume I put together, I mean, it's not even relevant to any of these positions that I applied for, because I mean, what the employer is going to think when they're gonna read my resume, when it says, you know, from the top, from the newest experiences, like it's gonna say right on the top, uh, real estate investor, you know, purchasing real estate, renovating, designing, you know, interior, exterior, and then sale of the property. Then below that, I have a commercial cleaning contractor. You know, I was doing grocery stores in the United States, uh, across five different United States. You know, Virginia, West Virginia, North Carolina, Kentucky, Ohio. What else? I think that's it. So I was kind of spread over five different states, and I was driving back and forth. I was basically living in my SUV, and sleeping at hotels, and I was making and spending tons of money. I was making gross profit of 600 to $750,000 a year, 4 years in a row, and that's part of my resume. And then I have, you know, before that I was working as regular janitor, you know, as a supervisor. I was busting my ass, you know, sweating my ass every night on the floors of, you know, grocery stores in United States, like Walmart and Kmart's and Food Lines, Targets, Publix, you know, Kroger's. I've done Kroger's and Harris Teeter's. You know, I've done so many different things. And before that, I was here, and I was a gym owner, and I was a entertainment company owner, and I've done just manual labor, like, you know, sheetrock hanging, and I was, you know, flipping used cars, you know, and it's all in my resume. So how is my resume relevant to, like, if I'm applying for a job position as a receptionist, you know, with English, or I apply for a job as an English teacher, or I apply for I don't know, manual labor at a local auto parts manufacturer, or I apply for a job as a baker. I mean, I apply for any kind of jobs, but how is my fucking uh, uh, resume? I mean, it's not good for any of these jobs. I mean, I'm really unemployable person. I'm just fucked up. I mean, if I would if I would have to make my resume relevant for any of these jobs, I would have to, like, fake one fake for every single job that I'm applying for. I would have to, like, make up stuff, you know, like, for if I'm applying for a receptionist, I would have to, like, make up something like I work as a receptionist at this and that, you know. But if I put there, like, I'm a real estate investor, I mean, who the fuck is gonna give me a job? I mean, that's crazy, isn't it? So I know I'm not gonna find any job, and I am not the person that lies in resumes, so I wouldn't even feel good, and it would, like, mess up with my mind. So I'm being completely honest, and I put in my resume exactly what I did, and it's a crazy life, you know, and that's why I'm doing this. That's why I'm recording these videos, so to give an idea what I've been through. All right, so I didn't get my visa on January 12th. Then I moved to Brno for 3 weeks. I didn't find a job, and I moved back to Havířov. I moved in. with my sister to her studio apartment. I'm just surviving and waiting for my house to get sold and closed on April the 2nd. All right, this is kind of sum up my current situation. All right, but now I want to rewind and start from a year 2000 when this long 18-year story, my American story, actually started. Well, I was in the United States for the first time in 1996, but I want to get to that later sometimes during my storytelling, and I just want to skip that period of 4 years, and I want to get to that current 18-year story that just ended. My American era just ended, you know, unexpectedly. It was unplanned, you know. Uh, anyway, in 2000, I was an owner of a fitness center. I had a gym. I was running a gym for women, you know, with exercise programs and nutrition, you know, lifestyle changes. And remember, there was no Facebook at that time, so all the promotion I was doing myself, you know, locally in printed magazines and radio station ads, and I was uh, uh, putting flyers in people's mailboxes, you know, locally. I was doing that by myself on my free time, and my gym wasn't doing any good. I had that gym almost 2 years, and about a year in, I realized I'm not gonna make any money on this gym. You know, this is not going anywhere. I wasn't even able to pay my bills, like my space rent, commercial space rent, my power bill, gas bill, you know, heating bill. I wasn't able to even keep up with my bills, and my loan actually borrowed some money for that, for the equipment, for the gym equipment, and and I also had this other activity, the entertainment company with my brother, and after a year we've been doing it together. We split, and I was doing it on my own. So I was also doing this at the same time. So I was doing a whole lot of work, and I was kind of exhausted and stressed out, and you know, the money I was making from the entertainment, I was pouring in my gym, and that money was basically just wasting. So at a certain point, I had to quit one or the other, because I couldn't just keep up doing both. So at one point, I quit my entertainment, the involvement in the entertainment part of my business. I gave that up, and I was just focusing on the gym. I had to get rid of my car, you know, that I had on lease, because I couldn't keep up with the lease payments on that vehicle. So, and that's another crazy story that I'm gonna talk about later with that with my vehicles. That's crazy stories too, but I'm gonna skip that right now. So, and then one day, you know, I also had two employees. I had two girls on payroll that were, you know, working behind the desk, and you know, teaching women how to exercise. You know, receptionists. You know, trainers, receptionists slash trainers. Had two girls, but I couldn't afford any of that. So one day, I've seen, you know, ads in local newspapers offering cleaning jobs, you know, in America, in United States, cleaning supermarkets, and back in the 90s, it was a big boom. Lots of people from Czech Republic were leaving for jobs, overseas or to another countries, and I think at that time we still were not in like a European Union, so all those jobs were mostly illegal. Everything was illegal. Even in United States, all these jobs were illegal. But I didn't care. All I wanted to do, I wanted to fly to United States and work for like, I don't know, 6 months. All right, that was my original plan, to go there, work for 6 months. Just work, work, work. Do nothing else. I wasn't planning on doing any kind of traveling or vacationing or anything else. All I wanted to do is just make most of the time spent in America working. And I just realized I am recording this without using my microphone, because my microphone on my cell phone is messed up. So let me just plug it in, and I'll just keep talking because I wouldn't be able to put it together the same way I just did. So I was planning just to work, 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 save up the money, or be sending the money home to my mother so she could take care of my bills, take care of the gym, and basically some kind of jumpstart the business some kind of way. I need to mention that the gym that I had, it wasn't my original idea. It was my mother's idea, um, because she lost tons of weight and she opened her own gym. But I had this idea that we're gonna grow this business, and we're gonna do like a chain of gyms for women for weight loss, because the fitness business started getting really popular at that time. 20 years ago, it was like a big boom, and everybody wanted to get involved and lose weight or become a trainer or aerobics. and, so it was starting getting really popular 20 years ago in 90s. So I wanted to be part of this, and part of this jumpstart, if I call it like that. And I wanted to create a chain of gyms, like what I've seen in United States, like with the Gold's Gym or Bally's. I didn't know Planet Fitness at that time, or I didn't know Curves. Like Curves is one of the chains for just women in United States, but I knew Bally's or Gold's Gym, so I had this idea, to have the same kind of network, chain of gyms, and that's what I wanted to do. I wanted to jumpstart it. I wanted to I wanted to do a good promotion, advertisement. I wanted to move into larger space, get more square footage on the gym. But it was hard at the time, because at the time I opened the second gym of ours. At the same time, another 6 gyms opened locally, like in the place where I was, like in very near vicinity. Another 6 gyms, like mixed gyms, or just aerobic gyms, or some kind of other exercises, and it was really hard to get customers, uh, because at that time the fitness was just getting noticed by general public, and it was tough. It was tough time to make money. So I wanted to go to the United States, make some cash to inject in my business. But things didn't go, as planned, as usual. So I applied to this ad in newspapers for cleaning supermarkets, and I went to Ostrava downtown, and I spoke with this guy in the recruitment uh, office, or whatever I should call it. Um, and it was a big guy. I mean, it looks like he was on steroids, and it was, one of the mafia guys that were doing all these recruiting uh, for the Czech people in the United States, who were, employing all these illegal people to clean Walmarts, and it was thousands and thousands of people, and these people were making so much money off of this business, off of us, So he was getting this guy that recruited me for this job was getting 400 to 800 dollars commission per person that he sent to America to clean stores. Okay, so these people were making tons of money, but I didn't know any of that at the time, how all these network works. So all I wanted to do was to make some money. So I flew from Prague to I'm just gonna try to make this long story a little bit shorter than what it is, uh, but I think I'm not gonna succeed on that. So actually, the funny thing was when I got on the train. Of course, I had a girlfriend at that time, and she was crying a lot when I was leaving on the train, and she was, waving at me and crying, and funny thing was that one of my girls that was working for me at the gym, she got married to a Nigerian African guy, black guy. They met somewhere in England. She was in England, and they met there, and they got married, and she was actually flying out on the same day I was flying to America. She was flying to Nigeria, so we actually uh, ridden. So we actually ridden the same train to Prague, and to the airport, and we actually split at the airport, and she went her way, and I went my way. So I got on the plane to New York, uh, and then I was supposed to fly to Atlanta, but for some reason I didn't get on the plane from New York to Atlanta. I don't know what the reason. Yeah, I didn't catch the flight. Yeah, I actually arrived. I landed in JFK, and my flight to Atlanta was from Newark. So I had to take a shuttle, but the shuttle was gone, and I didn't have time to wait for another shuttle because I didn't catch the flight. So I got on the cab, okay, and I all the money I had was $100. That's all the money I had was $100, because I spent all my money for the plane ticket. All right, and actually for me to get the money for the plane ticket, I sold my cell phone in Czech, and I took some money from my gym, and I also borrowed some money from somebody, from my mother, I think. I don't really remember. And I put all these money together, and all the cash I had left was $100, and I spent $80 off of that paying the cab going from JFK to Newark airport, right? And we were going through Manhattan, and I saw the Empire State, and and it was my only at that time it was my only trip to New York, Manhattan, just going through on a cab. So I kind of enjoyed it, and I talked to. I already spoke English, and I talked to the cab driver, and I remember this particular moment when in the Manhattan traffic and all the yellow cabs, and he pulled next to another cab, and the driver, my cab driver, offered the other cab driver a gum. That was a funny moment that I remember. And we were talking a little bit, and I asked him how much he pays for the rent, and he told me he pays like $4,000 for an apartment. And I thought that's crazy money. I'm never gonna live in New York to pay $4,000 a month for an apartment. Uh, anyway, he drove me to Newark, and I didn't catch the flight. So I had to take another flight going through like Chicago and then to Atlanta. And of course, and actually, I came to Atlanta earlier than I was supposed to. Okay, so I don't know how that was even possible, or maybe I made mistake. I got on the wrong plane or whatever. I just got there sooner, I think, than I was supposed to, and uh, it's hard for me to recall all that because all that happened 18 years ago. So maybe I got there later than I was supposed to. Well, anyway, when I was supposed to get there in Atlanta, it was like a hot spot for all the cleaning people coming from Czech Republic to United States, cleaning all the stores, uh, and all the bosses, all the contractors were coming there on like daily basis and picking up people like me. So I was supposed to meet someone there, like a supervisor or somebody who was supposed to pick me up and drive me to a location where I was supposed to work. Okay, but because I got there at different time when I was supposed to, nobody was waiting there for me. So the uh, the recognition sign was to have a Czech newspaper holding in my hands, so that way they would recognize me as a Czech person coming to work there. Okay, but nobody was coming. I was sitting there for about 2 hours, at the airport. I got through the immigration okay, because I could speak English already, so I didn't have any problem getting through. I said I'm going on vacation and stuff like that. You can't really say that I'm flying there to work. So I said I'm going on vacation. I had a return ticket in like 3 weeks or so, and and then I was waiting at the airport for about 2 hours, and nobody was coming. And then some guy showed up, and he asked me like, are you here for work? And also another couple, like couple of people was there also, like guy and a girl was also there, to work. That showed up, they flew from somewhere else, and they all came like to me, and and the supervisor guy told me, asked me, my name and who I'm waiting for, and he told me, I don't know anything about you. Uh, it was not the person that was supposed to pick me up. It was supposed to somebody else. But this guy was actually working for another boss. Okay. And he told me, okay, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter who you came for. And just wait here, and I'm gonna send somebody else here for you to pick you up. Okay. So, and then they left. Okay, so I was there again all by myself, and I started getting nervous. So I actually had a phone number that I was supposed to call. So I bought me a burger to get some change for the payphone, and I called the number, but nobody picked up. Nobody answered the phone. So I was sitting there again and waiting for another hour, and then I saw people coming from the baggage claim, and I saw a big fat guy, and another couple with him, and I overheard, in the distance that they were speaking Czech, and I was just watching them walking across the hall, at airport hall, and they got out of the building, and I was like, man, what am I supposed to do here? Okay, I was seriously thinking about getting on plane and flying back home at that time, because I was all by myself in foreign country. Nobody came to pick me up, nobody answered the phone, and I didn't know what to do. I mean, I started giving up on that idea, actually working in United States. I mean, for me, it was like uh, a deal breaking moment. I mean, I was seriously thinking about jumping back on the plane and fly back home. Okay, and then I realized, man, why am I still sitting here? I mean, what I should do? I mean, I should just go outside and talk to these people I just saw. Czech people I just saw, and just tell them about my situation, and it's not gonna cost me anything. So what I did, I just jumped out of seat, grabbed my bag and the Czech newspapers, and and I ran outside, and those people were loading their luggage into this fat guy's car. It was one of those older models, Chrysler H LS or LHS. It's big American sedan, and I saw them people, and I realized the big fat guy is gonna be the boss, and I told him, addressing that to him, uh, hey, my name is John, and I came here for work, cleaning, and nobody came to pick me up. And he was like, who was supposed to come pick me up? And I'm like, I don't know. They told me his name was Zavinac. The guy told me, wait here, and Zavinac is going to come pick you up, but nobody came pick me up. And I'm here for cleaning, and I don't know what to do. I don't know anybody, and the boss told me, the guy told me, all right, that's fine, man. We have job too, and we need people too. So we do the same thing. So come with us. So I actually started working for somebody else, and that was actually good for me because I didn't get charged the $800 for the recruitment commission that I was supposed to pay the guy in Czech. All right, so because of this mix-up, I skipped that. I didn't have to pay all that money, and that's a lot of money. So I jumped in the car with these people, and he drove me to a nearby apartment, and it was already like late at night. It was like 11 or 10 o'clock at night, and he drove me to a nearby apartment. I think it was like 2 or 3 bedroom apartment, like very near the airport, and it was like one of the apartments where people like cleaning crew group of people, 5 6 people were sleeping, and they were getting up at night and going out to local Walmart and clean the floors, right? So when we got there, I think it was like because there was another guy that actually reloaded, so it was like 4 of us, 4 new people and the boss. Okay, so when we got to that apartment, there was about 5 6 people sleeping in sleeping bags on the floor, and so we just sit outside and drank some beer, and the boss was telling us stuff about the job. And then you know, before midnight, all these sleeping people in sleeping bags, you know, got up and went to work, and so we had room to sleep. So we went to sleep, and then we got up in the morning, and he drove us to different places in Georgia, uh, you know, different locations in Georgia, and that's what I'm gonna be talking on my next video. All right, so my name is John. I'm trying to put my crazy story out there, how I ended up here and how it all develops. All right.